Have you ever woken up already exhausted, not from yesterday, but from what today is about to demand? Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already racing. Emails, messages, other people's emergencies. Your body is awake, but your soul already feels tired. You haven't even lived today yet, but you're already exhausted by it. This was Mira's life. Every morning felt like a quiet battle. A battle with the snooze button, a battle with time, a battle with a sense that she was always behind, even before the day truly began. She had a job, she had responsibilities, she had people who depended on her, but inside something was slowly emptying. She wasn't burned out because she was doing too much. She was burned out because she was doing everything alone. Her spirit wasn't broken. It was starving, not for motivation, not for productivity hacks, not for another self-help routine. What she needed was presence. She needed a sanctuary. She needed to find her shepherd again before the world found her. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when Mira knew this peace, when mornings were sacred, when she met with God before she met with the world. But life happened, not in one dramatic shift, but in 1,000 small yeses. A promotion that demanded earlier hours, an aging mother who needed care, a church that asked her to lead because she was so capable. And here's the cruel irony. The more she served God, the less time she spent with Him. She was leading others to the well while dying of thirst herself. And somewhere in the shuffle of being faithful, being responsible, being everything to everyone, she lost the one thing that held it all together, the quiet. She told herself she didn't have time, that God understood, that serving others was her worship, and it was. But you can't pour from an empty vessel. You can't give away what you haven't received. She was running on fumes, and fumes don't sustain souls. One Tuesday night, after another day that felt like drowning, Mira sat in the stillness of her room. Not the peaceful kind of stillness, the heavy kind. The kind that presses down on your chest and whispers, "You can't keep doing this." She wasn't crying from pain. She was crying from emptiness. Pain means something is breaking. Emptiness means something has already been lost. She remembered something her grandmother used to say, "If the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy." And she realized she had become so busy being good that she'd forgotten to be close. 5 in the morning. Not because that's the holy hour, not because that's what all spiritual people do, but because for her, that was the only time the world hadn't claimed yet. Your time might be different. 6:30 in the morning, your lunch break, late at night when the house finally sleeps. This isn't about the clock, it's about priority. This wasn't a New Year's resolution. This wasn't a spiritual challenge. This was survival, a quiet, desperate prayer. "Lord, I don't know how to do this anymore, but I remember what it felt like to be with you. So I'm coming back. Please, meet me there." She decided to give the first part of her day back to the one who created time itself. Not to impress God, not to become more disciplined, but because something inside her whispered, "Come away for a while." The first morning was hard. Her bed had never felt warmer. Her pillow had never felt softer. Every muscle in her body said, "You deserve rest." And she almost listened. But something stronger than her exhaustion pulled her forward. Not guilt, not obligation, but hunger. The kind of hunger only a starving soul knows. She whispered a simple prayer, barely more than a breath. "Lord, help me wake up." The house was silent. No notifications, no expectations, no one asking her for anything. For the first time in years, nothing was demanding her attention. And something unexpected happened. She felt seen, not energized, not instantly peaceful, just present. Because God doesn't compete with noise. He waits for space. The alarm went off. She heard it, but she rolled over and slept until 6:30. All day a voice whispered, "See, you can't even do this. You're not disciplined enough. You're not spiritual enough. You failed." But that voice didn't sound like God. It sounded like shame. And shame doesn't draw you closer. It pushes you away. Grace, on the other hand, whispers, "Come back. I'm still here." She almost didn't set the alarm again. Almost convinced herself it was too hard. That God would understand. That she'd try again, someday. But then she remembered, grace covers the snooze button too. "Lord, I messed up today, but I'm not giving up. I'll see you in the morning." The next morning she showed up. Not perfectly, not energetically, but she showed up. And God was there. Not disappointed, not keeping score, just waiting, the way He always had been. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Isaiah 40:31. She read those words slowly, and she realized this wasn't about perfection. It was about persistence, not in her own strength, but in His. Mira didn't call it a routine. She called it a sanctuary, a sacred space carved out of chaos. Not rigid, not religious, just real. Her Bible. She didn't rush through chapters. She didn't chase check marks. She sat with just a few verses until they reached her heart. Some mornings, just one verse. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. Psalm 5:3. She learned that waiting with God was different than waiting on life. Life makes you anxious. God makes you attentive. The Bible wasn't a textbook. It was a love letter, and love letters aren't meant to be skimmed. Her prayers, they weren't polished. They were honest. I'm scared I'm failing my mom. I'm tired of being the one everyone depends on. I don't know how much longer I can do this. But she also thanked God for simple things. Breath, warmth, another chance. And sometimes she didn't say anything at all. She just sat, because silence isn't empty. It's where God finally has room to speak. Some mornings she stepped outside. The air was cool. The world was still asleep. She wasn't walking to get somewhere. She was walking with someone. She talked to God the way you talk to a friend. About nothing, about everything, about the way the sky looked, about the weight she was carrying. And slowly, gently, something inside her began to reset. Her soul remembered. I was made for this, not for the chaos, for the communion. The change was undeniable, not because life became easier, but because her soul learned a new rhythm. The workload was still heavy. Her mother still needed care. The church still needed leaders. The world was still demanding. But Mira was different. An email came in, accusatory, unfair, the kind that used to send her heart racing. But instead of reacting, she paused. She remembered the morning, the stillness, the voice that had whispered, "You are mine. Their opinion doesn't define you." She responded with kindness, not because she was weak, but because she was anchored. Her daughter came home upset about something at school. Before, Mira would have multitasked, listening while chopping vegetables, offering advice while checking her phone. But this time, she turned everything off and listened. Really listened. Not to fix, not to solve, just to see. And her daughter noticed. "Mom, are you okay? You seem different." Mira smiled. "I think I'm finally becoming myself again." Sunday morning, she was still leading the Bible study, still serving, still showing up. But something had changed. She arrived filled. Not because she had it all together, but because she'd already been with the one who holds it all together. And people noticed. "Mira, I don't know what it is, but there's something different about you lately. Like you're actually here." A younger woman hesitantly stepped closer. "How do you do it all? You work full-time, care for your mom, lead here at church. How are you not completely burned out?" Mira paused, remembering her own exhaustion not long ago. "I was, completely. That's why I had to change something." "What did you change?" "I stopped trying to serve God and started spending time with Him. Turns out, He cares more about my presence than my productivity." The young woman's eyes welled up. "I think I needed to hear that." Later that day, that same young woman sat alone in her living room, phone in hand, setting an alarm for the next morning. The world was still shouting, but Mira no longer had to shout back, because she'd learned something profound. You can't fix the world's brokenness when you're running on your own brokenness. But when you're filled with the Prince of Peace, you carry peace into the chaos. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Matthew 11:28-29. Peace stopped being something she searched for. It became something she carried. At work, a colleague approached her desk. "You've seemed really calm lately. Like, even when things are crazy. What's your secret?" "I've been waking up earlier, not to do more, to be more with God." "Does it actually help?" "It's the only thing that does." Mira's change wasn't loud, but it was contagious. Not because she preached, but because she lived differently. Her mother noticed too. "You're not as rushed anymore, even when you're busy." Mira hugged her. "I'm learning to rest while I work, Mama, instead of working until I collapse." Maybe you're listening to this and your soul is whispering, "I need this." Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you're empty. Maybe you've tried before and failed. Here's what Mira discovered that no one told her. This wasn't really about discipline. It was about desperation. Not the panicked kind, the holy kind. The kind that says, I can't do this without you anymore. And I don't want to. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Mark 1:35. If Jesus, the Son of God, sinless, perfect, fully divine, needed to withdraw and be with the Father, how much more do we? He wasn't doing it out of duty. He was doing it out of relationship. And if we're too busy to meet with God, we're busier than Jesus. And that's not faithfulness. That's pride. That truth broke her and healed her. Over those 21 days, Mira watched winter turn to spring from her sanctuary chair. Not just outside, but inside. The ice in her soul began to thaw. The deadness began to bloom. Not because she earned it, but because she showed up to receive it. She noticed things again. The way light moved, the sound of birds returning, the beauty in small moments. Because when you're sprinting through life, you miss the sacred in the ordinary. But when you slow down with God, everything becomes holy ground. Your soul is tired because it's trying to carry the day alone. But there is a sanctuary waiting for you, a place where you are not a list of roles, employee, parent, leader, helper, a place where you are simply beloved, maybe at 5 in the morning, maybe later. A quiet moment where nothing is required of you except presence. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a morning person. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to show up and say, Lord, I'm here. This isn't Mira's story anymore. It's an invitation, not to copy her schedule, not to become someone you're not, but to remember you were made for this quiet. You were made for this peace. You were made for this presence, and it's waiting for you, and he will meet you there. Not with demands, not with disappointment, but with the one thing your soul has been starving for, himself. The world will still be loud. Life will still be hard, but you will be different because you'll carry peace instead of chasing it. You'll carry presence instead of performance. You'll carry the shepherd who never stops leading you home. Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for perfection. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you face the day, just whisper, Lord, I'm here. If you're taking this first step, type, I'll meet him in the morning in the comments. Not as a promise of perfection, but as a quiet yes, a whisper of hope, a step toward sanctuary. We'll see you in the stillness. He's already there.